I'm still feeling really good after that Browns game on Sunday. And now you start thinking about expectations. You start thinking about where could Joe Flacco be taking the Cleveland Browns. We know we're staring down the barrel of a playoff. Do we dare say now winning a playoff? There was a point of this season, things kind of were going bad. Is it just making the playoffs? Now do we have the belief we can win a game? When you watch what happened last night, when you know that no team can go, well, I couldn't say nobody goes undefeated, but nobody really saw those games playing out the way it did last night. So do you have a little more belief that you might be able to take it to the Miami Dolphins? Do you believe that you could take it to the Kansas City Chiefs? The AFC playoff picture is all of a sudden turned into a war zone out there with people losing games that they shouldn't. Browns are in the thick of things. On a 2 for Tuesday, can Joe Flacco get that done for the Browns and, dare I say, get a playoff win? I got a bit of a crazy debate that we have to have this morning related to one, Deshaun Watson. Ryan's upset with me for some other takes that we'll get to today. 2 for Tuesday, appetizers for our bracket. Yeah, we'll get to the Beatles, power rankings. We got the morning update and, of course, time up. We got it all for you right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning to everybody. Happy to have alongside you on a 2 for Tuesday. So, Ryan, you sent the tweet out that you're going to need people to defend an awful incoming take from me. There's a lot that we could pick from on awful takes, but we'll get to that coming up. We got to talk on the wine and gold this morning. Cavs, kind of are who though they were, right? You got 2 big games against Boston coming up. We'll discuss some Cavs. Again, morning update. We'll get to time up. We got a lot of submissions for our bracket of the week of your favorite appetizer, including in debate. Do we include the blooming onion? It's an appetizer only at one place. Now, I maintain the blooming onion is delicious, and I don't even like onion. I like onion rings, but like raw onion is disgusting to me. There is no part of me that I want it on my burger. Like cooked onions on a Philly cheesesteak, okay, fine. Any onion that I consume has to be cooked. Raw onions are disgusting.
Grow up.
Disgusting.
Grow up, Matt. They're
Disgusting.
delicious.
They are not. So I need them cooked. I need them deep fried. I need them sauteed. So I enjoy a blooming onion. I do. So I'll leave that up to Ryan. But we already got a pretty full 16 on our bracket this morning. So you can always tweet at Matt Fontana Show, at Ryan Tyler 33. Any other appetizers to throw in the group there, and we'll get to our bracket a little bit later in the show. We got, like I said, power rankings for the Browns, including the one thing they've improved the most on this year. Bad news on DeJuan Jones. We'll discuss that coming up. And I got to tie Joe Flacco back to Deshaun Watson. It's a weird conversation to have, but it's something that's been on my mind of tying it back to Deshaun Watson. And we know Watson out, and he's been, in the background rehab, and everybody freaked out about where he was sitting in that Rams game and all that kind of stuff. But there's a conversation to be had about maybe expectations now and what you've seen with Flacco and how it ties back. Let's get to that coming up, because I know that'll get a lot of people fired up. But we start with our 2 for Tuesday this morning. And really, the genesis of this, Ryan, was, did anybody, and I'm sure that some of the betting books out there, they might have some sort of ticket. Dude, I saw this has to be fake. My buddy Nick sent this to me, that somebody placed a $100 bet on a no-name please sports book that Zach Seiler, the defensive lineman for the Dolphins, would score a touchdown last night at 15,000 to 1 on a $100 bet. They won 15 grand, not on just a defensive touchdown, on this specific defensive player would score a touchdown as a lineman. That there's no way that's real, but he sent that to me on a sports book. We love Tipico. This was on Hard Rock. Somebody bet that on I'm assuming in Florida with Miami. They play at Hard Rock Stadium. They bet a $100, not $5. Okay, this wasn't a $10 free bet. This wasn't the free money you get from Tipico when you sign up using code BigPlay100, get $100 in bonus bets. It was not. Well, I guess maybe it could have been, but $100 on this one player to score a defensive touchdown. That's insane.
So that's how much money?
15 grand.
Wow.
They put a $100 bet down. They won $15,100. They got their $100 bet back, and they won $15,000 off that one defensive player to score a touchdown. Not a defensive back, not Deron Bland, a defensive lineman to score a touchdown. That is absolutely insane. But watching that game last night, we know what happened to the Chiefs. Baltimore now is just they're laughing right now. They're sitting in the driver's seat right now. But I thought about that of the Browns are on this upswing. The rest of the AFC seems like a bag of cats. Nobody really knows what's going on with any of these teams. First two for Tuesday, do you believe the Browns can win a playoff game? Do you believe right now, put it this way, will the Browns win a playoff game this year? Yes or no? That's going to be our first two for Tuesday question up. As always, 2 questions, 2 answers. We'll get to our second one coming up. But seeing how things have played out in the AFC, but with how the Browns are playing, it's entered the conversation again for me. I think after those 2 losses that you had against Denver and LA, you were just asking to make the playoffs. Now, can you beat Miami? Watching that, and I know Tyreek Hill got hurt in that game, and you see how different they were without him. Seeing Kansas City, and again, Buffalo's a good team, but all of a sudden now it's re-entered the conversation. Like, it's not just making it anymore. There's a chance for us to go win a playoff game with Joe Flacco, which is absolutely incredible that we're even having this conversation. So that's going to be our first one up. Brian, I want to get right to this. Deshaun Watson's been on my mind a little bit. And it's not any of this crazy outside of the box of like, oh, he's not with his teammates on the sideline or this or that. It's that in a small sample size of 2 games, you have had Joe Flacco play to a level I think any team would accept. There are a lot of teams out there that are struggling at quarterbacks, and they probably look at Jake Browning and Tommy DeVito and Joe Flacco, and they go, we can't even get that good a play, right? I can't help but wonder about Deshaun Watson a little bit. And it's not that, I guess I just got to say what I got to say. Did you really need to spend all that money and all those picks on a guy when you could pull a 38-year-old guy off the street to come in and play at a above average level? Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me that should not even end the conversation, because I know the world that we live in. Deshaun Watson's not going anywhere. Okay, he's here for next year. For the guaranteed money, for what they had to give up, he's here. There's no debate to be had about if you're moving on from Deshaun Watson. He's your starting quarterback. I know that. But I watched Joe Flacco play, and I go, now all of a sudden it's entered my mind to go, well, maybe we didn't need to give all that up for Deshaun Watson. Your bet is made. You got to lay in it. There's no going back. You can't take back what Deshaun Watson, the contract and the picks. And there are still elite guys that there is no question. You think it's Cincinnati, they're sitting there going, we really shouldn't give Joe Burrow all that money. Jake Browning looks pretty good. No. But Joe Burrow's got more in the tank. He has shown more for the Cincinnati Bengals. With Deshaun Watson, it's been lackluster play at times, it's been good play at times, and it's been the injuries. What really spurred this? Joe Flacco's game on Sunday, that equals the best game that I've seen Deshaun Watson play as a member of the Cleveland Browns. That's sobering. That's pretty sobering. When I think about that, I watched Joe Flacco, who was out of a job at 38 years old, come in and play at least one of the 2 best football games I've seen from a quarterback this season. And that includes what you saw from Deshaun Watson. And then, if you want to factor in the opponent, because who did Watson look good against? The Titans and the Cardinals. Joe Flacco went out there Sunday and beat a playoff team in the Jags. And people will be screaming that I'm just trying to rile stuff up and all that. I know Deshaun Watson's going to be here. And I know that he's going to be your starter week 1 next year. But I now sit here and question. I go, did you really need to do that? I don't know. And I'll tell you this, another part. Anytime, because this debate will happen next year. When Watson gets healthy and he starts playing, And there might be a time that things start to go bad and he doesn't look good and he's missing guys. And you know who people are going to yell at? Kevin Stefanski. And they're going to say the offense this and the offense that and the play calling. Just remember that we saw this offense without Deshaun Watson and it looked all right. There was times it struggled. I know that. It's not perfect. But I'm a little drunk on the game. I'm a little drunk off of that game on Sunday to sit there and say, well, I'll take that. I'll take that almost every Sunday. That is a winning brand of football. We sent the clip out yesterday. My favorite thing about Sunday was the Browns played winning football. And I know that it was a team win. It wasn't just Joe Flacco. You had guys on offense making plays, special teams, and certainly the defense showed up. And that's a part of everything. It's rare that you have a quarterback that goes out and wins games when your defense isn't to a high level. Browns played at a high level on Sunday in defense, so here we are. And Joe Flacco could go out there Sunday against the Bears and throw 4 interceptions, and we're back to feeling like, all right, maybe he's come back down to earth. I understand that Flacco is playing above a level that any of us expected, but you're still getting that. And the same thing with the Giants, right? Are they just capturing this magic with Tommy DeVito? Are they and any given Sunday, right? Anybody could get a win when they really need it, and it's more about the big picture. And in totality, yes, who would you rather be the future of the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson or Joe Flacco? Well, yes, very clearly the answer is Deshaun Watson. But I just think it's interesting. I just can't buck this for some reason. I just, for some reason, can't get this out of my head. That you brought in a guy off the street, and he's looking about as good as I've seen from Deshaun Watson this year.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Matt, I think that I do know what you're saying, and I agree with you, right, that his quarterback play has been beyond expectation. So it does, of course, naturally make you question when you go spend a crap load of money in draft capital to get a guy like Deshaun Watson. But then maybe to ease it a little bit, you go and look at the ceiling that they provide in terms of the ultimate goal being a Super Bowl.
Sure.
And outside of that 1 year with Nick Foles, like you go back and you look at the quarterbacks that were leading these Super Bowl teams. And like I said, outside of the Nick Foles, and then just in the last 10 years, it's your Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford's kind of an interesting one, but certainly better than a guy like Joe Flacco now. And then it's just your Tom Brady's, your Eli Manning's, your Peyton Manning's, your Drew Brees's.
Your point is,
your Russell Wilson.
Your point is right. You need an elite quarterback to go win a Super Bowl. And more often than not, outside of your Nick Foles and your Brad Johnsons before your time and the Trent Dilfers before your time, right? Yes, more often than not, you need an elite quarterback. And I know that Watson is your key. Watson is the future of the franchise for one reason or another. But watching Joe Flacco play in a small sample size, and I fully admit I'm drunk off this game on Sunday. It's like, I don't know if you need to do all of it. I don't know. And especially, do I want to be in the top of the draft and getting ready for Drake May or Caleb? No. The Browns made the move to go get what they believed is a franchise quarterback. The issue and the core problem that I think I'm dealing with and everybody is dealing with is we still don't know if Deshaun Watson is a franchise quarterback. You believe that he is. You want to think that he is. But really, I don't know anybody that can make that as a definitive statement that he is a franchise quarterback. You can go back to, what he did in Houston or some of the games that he had here. Sure, fine. That is the problem. Is that I'm in a bad spot with not knowing if Deshaun Watson is it. So then here comes a guy like Joe Flacco, and I go, see, it's not that hard. See, look, it's not that hard. He's doing this without Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's doing this without guys on the line. He's not doing it with Nick Chubb because some people wanted to rationalize the issues that Watson was having, again, on lack of playmakers or what the offense was doing. But now I have Joe Flacco doing it. So I sit here and I go, see, it's not that hard. And the shoulder injury, I guess, is what I just have to chalk all of this up to. And try and just say, hey, man, it was just the shoulder injury. It's like an experiment. It's like we're in 7th grade science class, and we're going to run an experiment. And what do you need? You need what they call a control. This is the base level without any of the variables of the experiment that we're trying to run, right? Well, now I have a control. I have a look several times over of what this offense is with Deshaun Watson and now without him. And I have now seen success with this offense without him, so I know it's possible. This is not me running Deshaun Watson out of town and saying I don't want him to be the quarterback anymore. But you know what this is doing for me, Ryan? When he comes back next year, all bets are off. Shout out to Drennan. It's all off, man. Where I can sit here and say, I know what it looked like. And that's a lot of pressure on Watson. I know he had it already. He is stepping on the field day one of training camp in August of 2024 in Berea, Ohio, with people saying, you better take us to the AFC Championship game. And I know the team will look a little bit different, and they got offseason decisions and all that kind of stuff, but that has even ramped up a little bit more. Because I guess here's an even more succinct way to talk about it, right? I'm expecting Joe Flacco to go win a playoff game. So how could I not sit here and have even higher expectations for Watson when he comes back? I'm asking Joe Flacco, who just got here off the couch, dealing with his 5 kids. As a dad, I get that. And he's winning games. The comeback. And I can already see it. It's one of my few skills. I can see it. Matt, it's one game. It's one game against maybe a Jacksonville team that didn't look all that good. And again, you got 4 takeaways in that game and you scored 14 points off of that. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I understand where you're coming from with that. But it's the ultimate goal. You're right, Ryan. It's the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. And this year, I don't know, maybe that door's back open now all of a sudden. I don't know. And again, then go out there and get smoked on Sunday, and we'll be having a lot of different conversations next week. But I see it of this team and Joe Flacco playing to a level that I didn't even see them playing with Deshaun Watson. So I'm conflicted. Like it really, it shouldn't impact me this much. I want to talk to Juan Jones. I want to talk about this crazy thing about Flacco being on the practice squad, which is good too. I want to get to our second 2 for Tuesday. Dude, I don't know why this is making me insane. It's been on my mind really all day yesterday, and then we came in this morning. I was like, dude, Ryan, we got to have this conversation. Because I've just been rattling this around in my brain, and it's going to make me go crazy. It really is. That, like, you could have done this with somebody else. And I know that there's, do you believe in like parallel universes and stuff like that? Like there's another version of you somewhere else that if just the butterfly effect was a little different, you'd be somewhere else. You'd be an engineer. Oh, I'm sorry. You already are.
I am an engineer.
You are an engineer. That's back to a show last week. If you watch, we appreciate that very much. But like the parallel universe of you could have maybe done this with somebody else. I don't know. And it's just one game. It's just one game. And Deshaun Watson, again, it's not fair to him because I'm not affording him. He maybe could have done the same exact thing on Sunday, right? He could have thrown the same passes and done all that kind of stuff. I'll just tell you this, like, I'm all in on Flacco. We all are. Flacco fever is crazy in this town right now. Rightly so. Got a brand new shirt out at bigplay.com for all of our merch if you want to check that out. But still, like, man, am I crazy? Tell me I'm crazy, right? For the fact that this even entered my mind. Like, if this is even, you could say, dude, we got to focus on this game coming up. We got to focus on a playoff run. And I just sit here and I'm like, man.
I mean, with the money, right? With that much money comes a bigger expectation than that number we're paying him even is, especially for a team in a city that's so desperate to win a championship. But I would just say, like, the reality is there's no way out of Deshaun Watson next year or even probably the year after that, realistically. So we just kind of have to like let that develop and just enjoy this Flacco magic while it's here.
It is. And the problem is that it's fleeting in a way. I know Joe Flacco won't be here next year. And that's maybe the other part of it. I feel like we have captured something. And I know that it's going to change drastically. And you're going to bring in the guy that is meant to lead this team, the guy that this offense is built up to be, he's supposed to run this offense. It's for him. But I sit there and I say, like, you see? Do you see what this team is able to do? So Deshaun Watson will get plugged back in there. and this will be a debate for 9 months from now. There's going to be pressure, man. There's going to be pressure. And you can't live your life with regrets. And at this point, it'd be crazy to say that the Browns don't regret that trade for Deshaun Watson. The suspension, now the injury, the money, the picks. It'd be insane right now. But you have to allow time for it to play out. Because the thing is, I don't want to do that. Watson starts playing bad, it's I'll just go find another Joe Flacco out there somewhere. And I think the other issue that I'm having is that I'm acting like quarterback play is so simple. I'm acting like you can just go find anybody on the street and just plug them into this offense and they can go out there and do what Joe Flacco did.
I was going to say,
it's not quite that easy, as we know.
Our post-return history doesn't
clearly
reflect that.
No, that is something that I need to remind myself. It's not as easy as Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns at this moment are making it. It's a lot harder than they're making it seem. So for me to sit here and go, they could have just found something else. They could have just found somebody else to do this without $230 million, without all this other crap. But that's another conversation, I guess, for another day. But I need to bring that up because it's just been rattling around in my mind so much after that game on Sunday with Joe Flacco. So our first question is up at Matt Fontana Show. Do you now believe the Browns are going to win a playoff game this year? Have you shifted your expectations? Do you think the Browns are going to win a playoff game this year? Ryan, please cast your vote. You hesitated. I would dare say that leans towards a no.
Yeah. I want to say no. I mean, I'm a big believer in Joe Flacco now. I'm not going to discredit anything he did. And I want to say that we're going to win one. I just would love to have seen, and maybe Flacco will show up, but it's more so I'm concerned about our defense and playing on the road just because we have no way around playing on the road that worries me. Maybe if we draw... I just don't see us ever going into Arrowhead and winning, unfortunately. And I just don't see, obviously, if we're not going to get matched up with Baltimore probably, which is honestly probably a good thing. But, actually, I'm going to flip my answer, Matt. I'm going to say yes, we're going to win one.
All right, good. I mean, I'm voting yes. I think watching how Miami kind of scuffled there, I know Kansas City is not impervious. Baltimore would be the scary one, but they're going to get the bye. You don't have to worry about them in the first round. I really think this is borderline wide open right now.
As crazy as it is, I don't even think this is crazy, but if we had home field advantage, man, would that have been nice if the Ravens lost last week? But
yeah,
if we had home field advantage, man, I would be confident to say it's not out of the world to go to the AFC Championship.
We are absolutely insane. We are absolutely insane at home, which is great to see. And again, you got to travel, you got to be able to go on the road and all that kind of stuff, but it's great to see that we have that home field advantage. All right, second two for Tuesday. This goes off of something that we debated a lot last week. The Beatles, are they overrated, yes or no? We did a bracket last week of the best band. Beatles were in there, and they made the finals, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't win, but they made the finals. And I said, I think the Beatles are overrated. It's a respect, I understand what they did for music. I understand that their impact, but I don't listen to any of their music. So, on our question, our second one, are the Beatles overrated? I'm very clearly voting yes. Ryan does not see the other side of it. I don't know why.
So, okay, let me post this real quick.
It's posted. Go. It's up at Matt Fontana Show. There it goes.
All right. Okay. So it's hard. That's a hard label to put because when you are arguably the biggest band that's ever existed on this planet, you're bound to get the overrated label because your numbers are so insane. However, I don't think that's a fair label to say they're overrated. I mean, they're so let me ask you this. I'll start with this. What is overrated about them in your opinion? You just don't think their music is that good?
I don't think their music is that good.
Okay.
I really do not think that their music is that good. Again, I'm not saying that they weren't impactful or that, Beatlemania wasn't a thing or that they're in the conversations of the most influential. I just don't think their music is very good. So that's why I think they're overrated. When I listen to some, and I know it's a personal taste thing, but there is some music that you can listen to and you're just like, wow, I can't believe that a person was able to create this amazing music with whatever, guitars and drum and keyboards. And I have no musical talent. I have none. I don't want to say kicked out of the 5th grade band, but I left and they weren't sad to see me go. Ever tell you that story? They caught me cheating in band.
How do you cheat in band?
I'll tell you. So in 5th grade, Kidder Elementary School in Brunswick, shout out to them. You had to go, I'll never forget this day. You had to go to the gymnasium, and they had all the instruments set up. And you had to do one of two things. You had to join the band, you had to join the choir, or you had to join the orchestra. And I was like, well, I can't sing, so I'm not going to do the choir. And everybody was excited about going to the band. Everybody wanted to play the trumpet. So you get in line for the trumpet, and you try it real quick, and then, a teacher would tell you, like, you're not really cut out for this, okay. So I go to the trumpet, and they're like, no, move on. So then I went to, I don't even think I did the flute. I don't even remember. And they were like, maybe you should try the trombone. And I was like, oh, great. Thanks. And like, well, you're a little taller. You have longer arms. You might actually really work to play the trombone. So I go play the trombone. I don't think it went any better. And they're like, well, that's it. You're going to have to play the trombone. Didn't even try the drums. It's still, I should have just tried drums, but I played trombone. Bro, I sucked. I had no real interest in doing it. My parents rented one for me. I'm sitting up in my room, probably driving my mom insane while I'm practicing horribly of the trombone. I think I made it to one recital. So they would send you home and they'd give you the little packet of all the music and they say, hey, practice, get ready for this recital. I didn't really care. I'd rather be outside playing. I'd rather be watching TV, anything, right? So you'd go back to school, and this was the other crappy part of it. You didn't get recess. If you were in the band, recess was your practice time for the band, orchestra, or the choir. So I'd go in there, and it was like me and, I don't know, 4 other people that were the trombone-ers, I guess, if that's what you really want to do.
Yo.
Yeah, so we're all sitting there.
Pause.
And I you know how a trombone, right? You hold it. Do you know when you put your lips on the trombone, you're supposed to do the M. So make an M, go M.
You're not helping yourself, Matt.
And that's how you're supposed to play the trombone. So I was sitting there, but I would never practice. So they'd go, all right, warm up, and I'm just like putzing around, just doing nothing. So then it would be time to play the piece of music that was meant for the recital. And I'd just do this the whole time. I just looked to the person next to me, and the girl that was next to me, she was really good. Like, I think she played into high school. Like, she was good. So what I would do is, because it all mattered about when the slide would happen, so I would just look to her and see where she would slide hers. The problem is that I was always late. Because by the time I saw where she was at, I was off. And I tried to slide to catch up. And I made the whole thing sound terrible.
Matt, the word.
So one day they said that to me. They caught me. And they go, do you practice? And I said, not really.
The word you were looking for was
trombonist, probably.
Trombonist.
I know, but it's just that's another reason why nobody in the 5th grade wanted to play the trombone. Why would anybody in the 5th grade want to sign up to play the trombone? I didn't have a choice. I felt like I was trapped. They said you had to try. And I'll have to ask my parents. I think they made it a requirement that you had to stay for at least the first recital. So we go to the recital, and that's easy because it's a big group. It's a 5th grade band. They're not playing Mozart in there, okay? So it's a giant group. So me screwing up, nobody heard. But in practice, during recess, they'd be like, who is this kid? And I would just cheat because I would just look at the person next. Again, my eyes, if you were watching on the video, I would just do this the whole time. I would just look, and I'd always be late. So eventually I went to him, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I remember because it was a school rental one, and God bless my parents, they didn't buy me one. Everybody else's parents ran out to the store and bought them a brand new flute or a brand new trumpet. My parents are like, yeah, we don't really think you're along for this. We're going to rent one from the school.
I had to play.
Mom and Dad, you were right. Well done.
We had to play the recorder in school.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had to play the recorder. Yeah.
And the glockenspiel.
I did not do the glockenspiel.
It's like the little xylophone.
When you say Glock, I think of something else, but I don't know the glockenspiel.
It's like a little xylophone thing.
Oh, okay. So eventually I went into the teacher, and I remember I packed it up, and he just looked at me, and I said, yeah, I think I'm done. And he goes, yeah, I think you're done too. Get out. And that's I give a lot of credit to people that are musical. I do wish that there was an element of my life that I was more musical, like that I picked up the guitar or I picked up the drums or something like that. Yeah, I didn't make it long. So I respect it. We all started talking about music and music that is created. I am not a musical person, as you can tell, getting thrown out of the 5th grade band for cheating. But I respect it. So I respect and understand the Beatles. I will tell you this, that I don't think there's a bigger band in the world.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about Kiss, who's on their 15th final tour right now, and you talk about Michael Jackson, you talk about Taylor Swift right now. Sure, there's all that kind of stuff. And you go back to what the Beatles were and Beatlemania and the Invasion. I get it. And that must have been a really cool time to be alive. I don't think any of their music's really good. I just really don't think any of their music's any good. And people are like, oh, you haven't given them a shot. Oh, no, I have. Trust me, I've listened.
Dude, but like the lyrically, the songs like Yesterday, Yellow Brick Road, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I'm just trying to think like their most like just insanely well written music. Like to say they're overrated is, I don't know. I feel like that's...
Well, I think that's, again, coming from the standpoint that I'm putting him in the upper echelon of musicians. I mean, they've, again, billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand.
Is LeBron James overrated?
There are people that will say that. That's the point.
And
You're talking about some
nuts.
of the best of all time.
And they're also nuts.
I'm not saying that they're not. And I get that, and maybe I'm on the loony side of things. This might be closer than you think.
People like to hate on greatness.
Okay.
Although I am over here saying that Queen's
I got it. All right, yeah, I got a tweet. And this is from my college roommate Alex. So this is biased in a way, but I love Hoop. He's the best. So he tweets, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. The Beatles bore me. It's just not an enjoyable listen. But when everything is so directly derivative of their sound, you hear them in all the other sounds. If you aren't exposed to the Beatles first, you've basically heard it all before. Again, I respect what Hoop is saying because he's right. Almost anybody that ever picked up an instrument post 1960 whatever, you probably were influenced at some point by the Beatles. He'd say they're properly rated. I respect them and their legacy, but I just don't listen to them very much. I love listening to younger Beatles super fans, much less. Oh yeah, there's probably a giant hipster group. Yes. That's exactly it. I agree with you. Everything he says there. I'm with him. Yes. That's it. He's right.
Queen's more overrated, Matt.
I see. That's okay. I say the same thing because it's interesting that I look at Queen and I go, wow, these lyrics. Wow, this sound. People say the same thing about the Beatles. I get it. I just think this will be a little closer than you think. We'll see. It's up. At Matt Fontana Show. Prove me right. Or prove Ryan right. Early results say no. Vote on that.
Good.
At Matt Fontana Show. We'll see how that rolls on. We got a lot more Browns to get to here this morning before we dive into the Cavs as well. I want to play this sound. So this is yesterday. Browns Victory Monday, kind of recapping everything. There is this... I don't understand. There are people that are concerned about Joe Flacco's status on the team. So, yes, he is on the practice squad. And as soon as the game ends, Joe Flacco reverts back to the practice squad. And people hear that and they go, well, wait a minute. Other teams poach players off of practice squads. Yeah, but the player has to want to leave. If the Cincinnati Bengals came calling and said, hey, we want Joe Flacco to start, Joe Flacco has to accept that he wants to leave the Cleveland Browns. And I don't think that's happening. Number two, and Ben Axelrod tweeted this out yesterday too, the money. Or I brought this up about the money. So Joe Flacco, as a vested veteran in the NFL, there is a minimum salary for any player in the NFL that has X number of years. It was like $800,000 or something like that. So on a game check, Joe Flacco should get $51,000 a week, prorated for every week that he's on the active roster. But the practice squad is only $20,000 a week, only. So he's losing out, half of his money, more than half the money if he's on the active roster. Now I go back to a guy like Flacco, who, one of the best stories in football, that he played on a one-year deal. This might be a little before your time, right? The year that they won the Super Bowl, Joe Flacco did not have a contract to start that season. And they were in contentious debate, I guess, if that's the word, if you want to look for negotiation on a contract deal. And he said, fine, I will play it out on a 1-year deal. He then went out and won the Super Bowl and then signed a nice fat deal after that. Let me see if I can find the numbers on that. So I don't think Joe Flacco is necessarily hurting for the money. I guess we'd all want to make more money if we could. Let me see. In July of 2012, Flacco turned down the Ravens' new contract offer, reportedly for $16 million a year, telling his agent he believed that he could make more. He signed a 1-year deal, went out, won the Super Bowl, and then on March 4th of 2013, he signed a 6-year, $120 million deal, becoming the highest paid quarterback at the time in NFL history at $20 million a year. Isn't that crazy to see where we're at today? But he got his money. He got his deal. So I don't think the money's a factor on it. So my question is, why are people freaking out about this? He's not going to leave. The Browns can elevate him 4 times before they have to sign him to the active roster. Now, I want to play this clip, and I want to make this 100% clear before we play this. And I want everybody to listen to this. I respect Daryl Ryder a lot. I like Daryl a lot. And the Browns media pool are filled with some great people. They really are. I spent a lot of time out there with a lot of those people. I consider them colleagues, and I respect their work. And one of those people is Daryl Ryder. Daryl's really good at what he does, and he's genuinely a very, very nice person. He is. So he just asked this question to Stefanski, and some people are trying to rip this apart. Here's Daryl asking a question to Stefanski yesterday at Browns media availability.
You had mentioned yesterday that, Joe will be the starter the rest of the way. So what's the plan to get him on the 53?
I'd say don't worry about it.
And why do you say that?
Because it'll all work out. I wouldn't be hung up on this one.
Daryl needed to ask that question, and Stefanski, I don't even think was getting short with Daryl. I don't think he was. Daryl asked a question where he understands how the practice squad works. I understand how the practice squad works. Ryan understands how the practice squad. But there's some people out there, and even some in the media nationally, that are trying to drive a narrative that Joe Flacco is unprotected and that he could leave Cleveland. Daryl wanted the opportunity for Stefanski to shut that down, and he did. And even you could hear in Stefanski, like, the craziness of, like, wait, what? People are actually asking this question? It's not on Daryl. And it's not even so much on Stefanski. Why is this a thing? He's not going anywhere. Whatever Joe Flacco thinks, he knows this is maybe his last ride. And he's talked about that. He said, I'm just happy that my kids can see me play, that they're at an age of being able to watch me and understand that, their dad was an NFL quarterback. And kind of fulfilling I wondered if I could keep playing. Now, Joe Flacco might go out and play somewhere next year, too. And I think he's maybe opened some eyes to that if he wants to continue that. Why would you rock that boat? I don't think it's a money thing. I really don't. He's in a good situation where he's actually playing well, helping a playoff team. That'll go, building cachet in this town, too. Of all the NFL towns, and I know that there's a lot that they respect their alumni and they love former players. Bro, find me a town better suited for Cleveland than to go do something legend. We still love Peyton Hillis. He just made it on the cover of Madden. And you say, well, why are you bringing that up? You can make money in this town doing that. You could come back for appearances or, come back. Like, if you're going to do something good in a town for an NFL franchise, Cleveland's right on top of that list. It is. And I'm not saying he's not beloved in, Baltimore and he's, he'll go in their Ring of Honor one day. I don't know if Joe Flacco's necessarily a Hall of Famer, but, he's beloved there. I'm just like, I don't think he's going anywhere. And again, that has nothing to do with Daryl asking the question. That has nothing to do with Kevin Stefanski's response. Why is that a thing? And if people want to say that they're nervous or that they're worried because it's not in writing or that there is a window. Yes. Okay. Technically, you want to know what could happen? Name me a team, Ryan. Give me a team.
Any team.
Any team in the NFL. First one that came to your mind.
Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions call the Cleveland Browns and they say, hey, we're taking Joe Flacco off your practice squad. And Joe Flacco sits there and goes, maybe, I really want to go to Detroit. Maybe I could overtake Jared Goff. I'm going to leave. Yes. Could that hypothetically happen? Sure. Yes. You're right. By the letter of the law, there is nothing that the Cleveland Browns could do to stop that. I guess I'm having a little faith in this. And Browns fans have been burned before. There's been handshake deals before. Go talk to Jim Thome. Go talk to Carlos Boozer. I get it. I understand it. I get it. Handshake deals only go so far, man. You want that in writing? I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. I truthfully tell you this. And I'm not blaming some fans out there. And really, you want to know what, Ryan? I don't even think it's so much the fans. It's Lock and Four. Lock and Four's got this thing. The practice squad. Okay, the other thing. People think it's wrong to exploit a loophole, right? Is this or is this not a loophole that the NFL has, number one, available for everybody? It is wide known. Like, when I think of a loophole, it sounds like you're scamming people. It sounds like you figured something out and you're running a con over here. That's not what the Browns are doing. Everybody knows that this is what the rule is. The NFL opened the practice squad for veteran players in a way for this to happen. Joe Flacco might not be on the Browns if the NFL a couple of years ago didn't say, you know what, veteran players can go on the practice squad. Great idea. They get paid. The team gets a better pool of players to pick from so they can go out there and be competitive on Sunday. It's a win-win for everybody. So it's not like this is something that Andrew Berry schemed up in his office. This is well known. They're taking advantage of it. And at the end of the year, because what do they have? They have 2 more elevations. You want to know what's going to happen in 2 weeks, Ryan? I will get an announcement that the Browns have signed Joe Flacco to the active roster, and I'm sorry to say that somebody... What do they have to do? DeJuan Jones is going on IR. There's your roster spot. I don't want it to be that case, but they'll find somebody, unfortunately, to release from the roster or somebody go on IR, and they will pay the money. I don't think the Haslam's are worried about the money. I don't think. If you have this opportunity to take advantage of it, why would you not? So I don't understand people that are worried about it. He's going to be here. He's going to be your starting quarterback, barring injury, for the rest of the year. Don't worry about it. We'll be doing just fine. We mentioned DeJuan Jones. Dude, what a gut punch. I mean, for how well he had played, but this offensive line, man, a magnet. An absolute injury magnet. It almost feels like a starting rotation in baseball. Because they always say, same thing, 5 guys, right? You got 5 guys in your starting rotation in baseball, you got 5 guys in your offensive line. And the only adage in baseball is you never make it through the season with all 5. You got 8 guys, 9 guys that have to start games at some point. And here we are with the Browns, where, again, Conklin going out. The guards, they've been the only ones who've been consistent in there. And I'm not saying Bitonio and Teller have not fought through injuries. I know they have. But you got Posick out. I do have confidence that Posick's going to play this weekend. He got a stinger. But even then, I felt like Nick Harris played pretty well. But now we're back to this tackle situation. And for those that don't know, DeJuan Jones has a torn MCL, and he's going to have surgery. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. So you got Christian at left tackle, which, again, has played okay. And then the question is what you do with James Hudson at right tackle. And Wyatt Teller came out yesterday, and he said, dude, I have all the confidence in the world in James Hudson. And Wyatt even kind of made some comments that he felt like the refs were pinching him a little bit yesterday, or on Sunday, excuse me. Because, he got a couple of fouls and all that kind of stuff, like whatever. But the question is, with Jed Wills hopefully coming back soon, what do? You just ride it with James Hudson? Do you flip Jed Wills back over? I don't know. At the end of the day, there's another thing about the offseason. I tweeted this. You got 6 guys for 5 spots. And they're not quite interchangeable because you know that Jed Wills can't go play center, right? So Wyatt Teller, who I want here, I know that there's people writing like, dude, he's got money and they might have to let him go. Not after the season that he's had. Joel Bitonio, hope he does not retire. I hope he sticks around. So then you have these tackle situations where you basically have 3 guys for 2 spots. You got guaranteed money for Jed Wills that is not going anywhere. And you have money tied up in Conklin. Now, Conklin, you're going to have to take a dead cap hit. Like, I was on Over the Cap and tried to understand, like, you don't cut him without any repercussion. You're going to have to swallow some of that money if you cut him or even if you trade him. There's money that you are going to have to swallow because I think DeJuan Jones is a guaranteed starter for this football team next year. Right tackle or left tackle, I don't know. That's another intriguing thing. Did you maybe somehow fall into a guy being your starting left tackle? That gets me back to Jed Wills. You know, his money is not that terrible. Could you find a team that needs a left tackle, attach a pick to it, and say, take him in his contract, here's a pick, and now you get an average to maybe a little above average starting left tackle? Maybe that's something the Browns got to do this offseason. We'll see. But I know they are kind of who we thought they were, right? I've made this mention in this shift that I've had with the Cavs. I don't know what I'm going to get. Including a 15-point third quarter last night. You ain't winning a lot of games doing that. And then the fact that they got back into that game last night. Now, you needed a season high from Darius Garland. But the Cavs last night, Allen fouls out. Mobley didn't play. LeVert didn't play. They looked discombobulated. They did. And people are going to complain about JB's rotations and who he's putting on the floor when and why Craig Porter didn't play last night, why Sam Merrill got to, I don't know. And I just chalk it up to say, I don't know if I can be angry about this basketball team right now. These things need to get figured out by January. And that's a tack that I can take as a fan, where I'm going to tune into these Boston games coming up. And just like last night, they could win by 10, they could lose by 10. And watching the game, as neurotic as it makes me watch, okay, they got back into it and they shaved it back down to 4 points late in the game. Really, I thought when Paolo Banchero twisted his ankle, like, okay, maybe here's our opportunity. Here's our chance to get back into this thing. Well, you still lose by 10. That's kind of what this team is. They have to play, which is weird, a borderline perfect brand of basketball at this point. And that's frustrating to watch. Because, yeah, we're built up to when LeBron was here and we were just throttling teams. But you would even look at Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and say, you guys should be able to take it to most teams. And you realize they can't. They just can't. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here, folks. The Cavs are not one of the elite teams in the NBA. They're a good team. They're a playoff team. And we expect them to be a top 4 seed. They are not this elite squad that is impervious to mistakes, where they can just shoot their way out of mistakes, or they have a star player that can take a game over. Donovan Mitchell's a really good player. Star player, yeah, sure. He can't win games by himself. He just can't. And when you're down some of the guys like the Cavs were, and playing an Orlando team that is very good, when you make mistakes and you don't have the team that your full squad out there, that's what's going to happen. And I could get positive and try to say, like, okay, they kept it in the game a little bit, or, they were able to come back in that fourth quarter and try to get it close. You got outscored 30-15 in the third quarter. What you want to happen? No, never mind.
What?
Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
You know what I'm going to say.
Is it about a man named JB Bickerstaff?
It's not a man named JB. Listen, I know Mobley was hurt, and you needed to start somebody. I'm done with Dean Wade. He made more threes last night than Max Strus. Okay, and Strus was just bad last night. Okay, fine. We're going to find somebody better than Dean Wade. I'm sure there's a world that he's perfect. I don't know. He's a role guy. He's a role player. And I feel bad. Dean's a nice guy. And maybe that shoulder injury screwed up. He's not playing good basketball. And you got to force him into playing 20, 30 minutes last night. Should have known.
He played, how many minutes did he play last
29
night?
minutes. He played 20. I mean, Allen
Allen
was in foul trouble the whole game, and he fouled out. What do you want him to, that's the thing. Again, same thing. People complain about JB. What did you want him to do? Yes, Craig Porter probably should have played a little bit in that game. I know Garland and Mitchell went off. that reeked of a let's not really exert ourselves for this game because we got 2 big ones coming up against Boston. But again, you exerted yourself because Garland and Mitchell had to play almost 40 minutes each and going off for all those points. I don't know. You don't have Evan. Dude, can you, do we see how scary this is? That's the thing. This team, it's like a Fabergé egg. You one little thing, and they're not winning games. Either an injury, not shooting well. I guess we're back to doing that, by the way. You ain't going to go anywhere shooting 9 of 40 from behind the arc. That's just not happening. Just atrocious. Donovan was 2 of 10. Oh, my God. And Orlando's good. I know. I'm telling everybody this with the Cavs. Do what I'm doing. Go in with no expectations for these games. It's different, Ryan. Normally, when LeBron years, I was like, call me when the playoffs start because I just knew we were good. At this point, for my own mental health, just call me when February comes, and I'll tell you who this team is or isn't. They're underperforming, yes. They're missing guys, yeah. Are they really good at anything? Even defense, which was their best thing, they're still good. They're not the best in the league. I don't think the Cavs do anything really well.
They don't.
They don't. And if this is a giant hangover still for that Knicks series, and they just cannot get that out, I don't know. But I just, you know what? We do our bets on Tipico, which we've been a fantastic 0 for 3 in our boost last night. I just step aside. I watch the games because I'm a Cavs fan. I root for them to win every game, but I just know that there's going to be some games they're going to lose like that. They're going to absolutely lose like that, and it just kind of is what it is. So they get geared up for these 2 Boston games coming up. I mean, again, just go into them as I'm going. We'll
Matt,
see how it goes.
If you could bring back one Cavs player not named LeBron James that has been on the team in the last 10 years to help this team right now, who would you pick?
Okay, so here's that.
And you have to base it around our current roster now. So
that's what I'm saying.
Like a Kyrie wouldn't make sense.
What do they need?
Right.
What does this team need? And I think it's hard. That's probably maybe one of the biggest frustrations. It changes from game to game on what they need. Okay? They don't need some stone cold defender. If Evan Mobley's in there and Jared Allen's not in foul trouble, you got that. They shouldn't need guard play. You're right. Kyrie doesn't really make sense for this team. The question and the thing that I need, do you know who I really need? Do you know who we really need?
Who?
Kyle Korver.
Yeah, no kidding.
Isn't that right? Is that not it?
You would hope.
It's the 3-point shoot. That's it. That is it. And I know that there's a lot of issues with the Cavs, and we all choose to pick one thing to focus on, like focus our rage on one thing. For me, it's the 3-point shooting. The Cavs are shooting less threes than they did a year ago, but hitting them at a worse percentage after they spent money on 2 guys that are here to shoot threes in Max Strus and George Niang. That's who they need. They need Kyle Korver. They need a guy that can shoot 40% from behind the arc like nothing. That's it. That's what they truly need. And they're missing that. They were shorthanded last night and they lost by 10. If I told you that on any given day, that they were shorthanded and lost by 10 to a team that is still, are they still the 2 seed? The Magic? I don't know. A top seed in the East, right? You lost to a team.
They are.
They're 2 seed in the East, and you were down, guys. You lost by 10. That's not that crazy of a statement, but it is. Hey, the Guardians have made a signing. Woo! Ben Lively? Don't know who he is.
Who?
I'm assuming he's a reliever. He's a pitcher. Look at the Guardians spending some money. Take that. 31 years old. From Pensacola, Florida. Played with the Reds. Well-traveled fellow. Oh, no, he's a starter. He started 12 games last year for the Reds. Cal Quantrill's replacement, I guess? I don't know. Guardians quiet. We'll talk Ohtani because everything came out about those deferred payments. So we'll get to that coming up in the morning update. God, what was the other thing I wanted you to bring up in the morning update? The deferred payments thing. There was something else. I don't know. We'll get to that coming up. We got the morning update. Ryan's got that. We'll get to Time Hop. Want to dive back into the Browns as well. Got some spicy tweets in the Twitter inbox. Don't forget our appetizer bracket coming up, and we'll get to Time Hop all right here on the Fontana Show. Big play. One of our biggest days is yesterday. Greg Roman former offensive coordinator there for the Baltimore Ravens. He was on Come Get Some last night with Greg and Blake Williams. I mean, that's really, I think those guys do a great show because they're two former coaches talking ball, but their Rolodex is impressive. I mean, they get a lot of former players, a lot of former coaches. You know, it was real sad. Frank Wycheck passed away over the weekend, so they had a coach on to talk about that. So Come Get Some every Monday. You can always get on Bally's as well. The Reflog Show, the Big Play Cleveland show rebranded. They had a member of the Columbus Crew, the world champion, MLS Cup champion Columbus Crew. Congratulations to them. And then, of course, Hanford Dixon Show. So on Tuesdays, you get us 9 to 11. You get the bold, bald, beautiful breakdown from Nick Shook and Chico from 12 to 2. And then you get Josh Maria Cribbs with the return tonight. Don't forget Bobby Carr. Are they still doing Carpenter?
They are.
Yeah, all right, so there you go. They get into the recruiting trail on that?
They are. The transfer portal.
You see that Dylan Raiola kid? He might flip again.
Wow.
So he's the number one quarterback, apparently on this level of Trevor Lawrence, like he's a stud. So he was committed to Ohio State. He's flipping from Ohio State. He was committed to Georgia. He's now apparently interested in Nebraska. And did you see two other guys that went to go visit Matt Rule out there in Lincoln?
I did not.
Kyle McCord and Julian Fleming.
Oh.
Revenge tour from McCord. Do we play Nebraska next year?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, Kyle McCord and Julian Fleming. They went. They're reportedly visiting with Matt Rule. I think Matt Rule is going to turn Nebraska around. I really do think that. Lost in Colorado earlier this year was a little tough, but nonetheless. So you still have Bobby Carpenter, Anthony Schlegel. We got it for you everywhere, folks. Big Play on Twitter is the place to follow, but also on YouTube. And, you know, not that it matters to anybody but us. We're doing really good in the YouTube numbers. So a lot of people that view us on YouTube, on the Big Play channel, or on our own show channel, we really appreciate it. Folks, we're everywhere. Big Play channel on YouTube. Fontana Show, YouTube. Fontana Show, Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, and we're still streaming on the iHeart app. We're everywhere you need us.
I need some people on the YouTube to comment their thoughts on the Beatles.
Get that going.
I need some backup.
I didn't even update the poll. How's it doing early? Are the Beatles overrated is one of our questions this morning. How's that going? It's closer than you think, Ryan. 60-40. 60-40. 60-40. We'll see. All right, let's catch our break. When we come back, we'll get to the morning update. We'll talk Ohtani. We'll talk a bunch of other stuff. Stay with us. Locked in right here. Big Play Fontana Show on a Tuesday. Back right after this. All right, hour 2, 10 o'clock hour upon us right here on the Matt Fontana Show. Welcome back. Take you up till 11 o'clock as we always do. And the stories you got to know on a Tuesday edition, we call it the Morning Update. Ryan, take it away.
Alrighty, Matt. Well, we talked about, or this happened over the weekend, but we didn't talk about it yesterday at all, and I want to get your thoughts on it. But Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. got the Biletnikoff Award. Many people thought it should have been back-to-back. However, you do have a side. Some people thought that LSU's Malik Neighbors should have won the award. His stats were better than Marvin Harrison's, but man, I think they got this one right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it all comes back to the Heisman, which we didn't really talk about yesterday. Jaden Daniels wins it, sure. I mean, it's like the body of work versus the statistics, right? And Malik Neighbors is good, and I see a lot of mock drafts that, yeah, he's right up there. But you look at Marvin Harrison, and you go, that is, again, I think the best player in college football and the best wide receiver in college football. Like, I'm just sorry. The thing about a lot of these awards and, you know, unanimous All-American and all that, I get it, but it's always subjective. These things are voted on. These things are selected by a panel. And, you know, guys enjoy them, and guys get to sit there and say, okay, I got this, or I won this award. In the grand scheme of things. Like, the Heisman, I get. Okay, the Heisman is the Heisman. But, like, the Remington. You don't even know what the Remington trophy is, right?
I don't.
Best center in football. The Outland Trophy. Best interior line. Like, all these trophies. Yeah, they're good, and I'll tell you this. I think the schools, again, I'm taking the Heisman out of it. The schools care more about that than the players do. Like, I think it's cool to say that you won the Thorpe Award as the best defensive back in college, or, again, the Biletnikoff Award. You know, Marvin Harrison, he's going to go to the NFL. He's going to make a lot of money. I would assume at that point he's worried about making all pros and going to the Super Bowl. And, yeah, at one point, if he gets inducted into Hall of Fames, they'll talk about him being a Biletnikoff Award winner and that kind of stuff. Do you think Marvin Harrison will go into the College Football Hall of Fame as a two-time Biletnikoff Award winner?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know really much about the College Football Hall of Fame in terms of their parameters and who's in or not.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's, you know, a lot. I don't want to say a lot of people get in, but, you know, you look at it and you're like, all right, well, it kind of is. It's, I don't want to say a crazy thing, but, oh, I'm sorry. I keep saying Marvin Harrison won it back-to-back. He didn't. That's right, because Jalen Hyatt won it last year. But, yeah, I mean, he deserved to win it for not winning it last year. There are two guys that won the award twice. Can you name either one of them?
Only two people ever?
So this award's only been around since 1994.
Since 1994, two people have won the Biletnikoff
twice, and they both went back to back.
Okay.
So it's not like they won one, then took a year off, then won it again. Both these guys were the two best. They were the best wide receivers in college 2 years in a row. So Marvin Harrison, again, not on that list because he didn't win it last year.
Since 94.
Since 94.
I'm going to guess Desmond Howard.
No, good guess, though. He never even won it.
But he won Heisman.
He won the Heisman, but he was a DB more than a wide receiver.
Okay.
And a kick returner. It doesn't go back to 94.
Do you know, can I get the years they won it?
07 and 08.
07 and 08.
And then 10 and 11. So they were pretty close.
And then 10 and 11. Oh, okay.
Amari Cooper won the Biletnikoff Award.
Twice?
He's not twice, no.
Oh, okay.
These are Browns wide receivers that won the Biletnikoff. Amari Cooper won it in 14. Cordy Coleman won it in 15. Braylon Edwards won it in 04. But none of those guys won it twice.
No way it was. I'm just thinking of guys that kind of went early in the draft around that, or like later.
Yep.
Tavon Austin?
No, good guess. No.
I might need some help here.
All right, the first guy in 07 and 08. I don't even know if I have a good guess for you. I remember this guy for the 49ers because he got drafted by the 49ers. So he spent a good chunk of his career there, spent time in Raiders, Ravens, and Cardinals.
Oh, Anquan Bolden?
No, good guess.
Oh, damn.
Do you want his college?
Yeah.
Texas Tech.
Oh, God. I don't know if I could ever name a receiver out of Texas Tech.
Michael Crabtree.
Oh, I never in a
Crabtree.
Million years would have got that.
Okay, that's one. And then this other guy won it in 10 and 11. And your hint is he goes down as one of the biggest busts of all time.
Oh, wow.
Not all time, I guess, but he was the 5th overall pick in a draft that I was screaming for the Browns to draft this player, and thank God they did.
What year? What draft was that?
He went
Would that have been
in
2012?
Yeah, 2012. As the year we took Trent Richardson.
And he went 5th overall?
He went 5th overall.
God. Oh. Well, there hasn't been that many receivers in the top 5 taken.
No.
Oh. No, that might have been too early. Corey Davis?
No, good guess. Again, a high draft pick who was kind of a bust. This guy was a bust because he literally could not stay on the field. He had a lot of off-the-field legal drama.
Once I hear it, I'm gonna be so angry.
He probably will. I think in his NFL career.
Oh, no, no, that might have been too early, but Sammy Watkins?
No. This guy only played 20 games in his NFL career. 20. He played 16 games his rookie year, 4 games the next year, and he's basically been suspended out of the NFL since. It's not Josh Gordon. I'd give you the school, but I don't think it's going to help you.
What's the school?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. Oh, man, I don't know.
Justin Blackmon. Remember Justin Blackmon?
Oh, we were talking about him yesterday.
Yeah, Justin Blackmon. Yep, those are the only 2-time Biletnikoff Award winners, which, again, Marvin Harrison should have been, but he's not. I was speaking like he won it last year. He didn't. Yeah, that's it. So, done. Yeah, I mean, good for him. So, Heisman played out the way you expect. These college awards, sometimes they put too much sauce on them anyway, but congratulations to him.
The Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes is officially over, Matt. He's signing with the Dodgers, but news broke yesterday. They announced that they signed him to a 10-year, $700 million contract, but the catch is the contract will come in deferred money. Under this structure, Ohtani is deferring more than 97% of his earnings. The deferred money, totaling $680 million, will be paid to Ohtani between 2034 and 2043.
So I read something. The reason he did this is he's going to save himself hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. So here's how it goes, which I'm not an accountant, I'm not a CPA, but how does this work? Where he's going to play for the Dodgers. Then when he's done, if he moves to Florida, or isn't Texas a no state income tax?
I know Florida is, obviously. I'm not sure if Texas is.
Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming are the only states that do not levy a state income tax. So Shohei Ohtani wants to go buy the state of South Dakota, which I think he could probably do. There will be no state income tax, as opposed to California that is at a 50%. But my question is, this is income. This is no different than what you and I do. We get our paychecks and Uncle Sam takes a big fat bite out of it. I get it. He's still providing his services and technically doing his job in the state of California. Even though it's deferred, how does he not still get taxed on that because he did his job in California? Do you want to know a little tidbit, Ryan, about the NFL? Do you know that NFL players have to file state income taxes in every state that they play? So this year...
Oh, wow.
Let me just... And that's why being an accountant for the NFL or being the accountant for an NFL player is not an easy thing to do. This year... Okay, so every year the Browns play in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh. This year, they were in Indianapolis, they were in Seattle, they were in Denver, they were in LA. So players' accountants need to file income taxes for Pennsylvania, for Maryland, for Indiana, for Washington, for all the states that they play, because technically they went to that state and did their job and earned income from that job. There are people out there in the trades that I know. If you cross state lines to go do a job in another state, you got to file income taxes for that state. So I don't understand how Ohtani's going to get around. Now, I'm sure with $700 million on the line, he's got a good accountant, and they have figured that out. But I read that yesterday, that's part of the reason he wants to do this is to save himself all this money for later in his career. Now, that being said... And I know Ohtani makes good money on his endorsements and he's still getting a $2 million salary. Bro, you're telling me that I got $700 million and I ain't going to touch it for 10 years? Every day, man, I'd be sitting like, I'm going to buy this car and I'm buying this house and I'm buying this boat. Nope. I guess the other thing in a conversation I had with somebody yesterday about it, if while he's playing, what can you really do to enjoy all that money anyway, right? You're 6 months out of the year basically playing baseball. Every day traveling, every day working out. In the offseason, you're working out and doing everything. So I guess you really can't enjoy it. And if you could save yourself all that money, I'd defer it too. The thing is, Bobby Bonilla Day, we just need to find out what day he gets paid.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine just one day waking up and go, yeah, today's the day I get $68 million?
Just hits your bank account.
God, I hope. One day. Well, we keep this thing going here on Big Play. Maybe that day will happen one day, right?
Sorry, how are you worried about this, though, in terms of breaking baseball and the fact that now the Dodgers are like they have so much more money to just keep spending and spending?
I mean, okay, see, here's the thing. Like, the Dodgers will have, they better keep this rolling because they still have to pay. Could you imagine in 10 years if the Dodgers are not a good baseball? Like, they're still going to have to pay. And I know that the billionaires there, they'll put the money in escrow and they're putting that money away and then, you know, they'll get interest on it, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think so. He's a one and a off, you know, player. Like, he's a generational type player. The thing is with deals like this, and another conversation I was having, do they ever actually live up to it? That's me saying about Shohei Ohtani, who's a beast, who's so good at what he does. He got that money because he can pitch and he can hit. Ryan, he's not going to be pitching in a couple of years. I feel pretty confident in saying he's already got Tommy John surgery lined up. And the thing is, he's going to play, right? Is he not going to play? That's not like when a pitcher gets Tommy John and they come back in a year or 18 months, that's them doing rehab every day. That's them going to get treatment every day. Shohei Ohtani is going to be the DH for the LA Dodgers. I would imagine that will interfere with his rehab and treatment schedule. Those are uncharted waters. And I don't have the money, obviously, to enter that kind of water. I don't know if I'd have done it. And that's not me crapping on Shohei Ohtani. He's great for baseball. He's an electric player. Bro, there's almost no way that you can live up to a $700 million contract. But I hope he proves me wrong.
All right, well, I want to talk a little bit about Monday Night Football, Matt, because we got two upset specials. One a little more shocking than the other.
Saturday night special?
But Tommy DeVito leads the Giants over the Packers on a game-winning field goal. But, Matt, the more surprising one was a late comeback for Will Levis. They beat the Dolphins, and the Dolphins already didn't have a marquee win, but now they have a real ugly loss.
Yeah, and the thing is about the Dolphins, how bad do they look without Tyreek Hill? So he twists the ankle. He gets back into the game. By the way, did I read this morning that he got back in the game because his wife texted him? Did you read that this morning?
No.
Okay. Okay. Tyreek. When it happened, my first reaction was, man, my ankle is gone. My adrenaline kicked in. I ran off the field. Then I sat for a while and it got stiff. I was going through a lot of pain. Then I just made up my mind. I came in at halftime. I texted my wife. I was like, this blank hurts. And she's like, you better get your ass back in the game. And I was like, all right. I thought they weren't supposed to have their phones. Do you remember when Cade York got caught texting at halftime and people freaked out? Thought you weren't supposed to have your phones, Tyreek. I just thought, Miami, again, dude, this season is the season of blank around and find out. And that's what so many of these teams do. But Miami, dude, when they don't have Tyreek, man, they're not the same. Did you see Tua leaving Jalen Waddle out there just to get decapitated over the middle, too?
Play.
Didn't he do
First
that? I mean, I don't know. I'm a big believer in what Tua is trying to do. They can run the football. Raheem Mostert, like watching that game, they're really good at running the football with Achane and Mostert, absolutely. But I guess, you know, give credit to Tennessee. Scrappy, 327, a career high now for Will Levis, and they needed, you know, Derrick Henry to rush that football in. Hopkins is still really good. Yes, okay, I said I didn't want DeAndre Hopkins on this team. Now it looks like I probably would like him back on this team, whatever. Yeah, Miami blanked around and found out. They're still pretty confident that, you know, again, making the playoffs. The problem is, do they just start packing it in that we're not going to get the number one seed? And correct me if I'm wrong, Miami's got a semi-hard schedule. Yeah, they got the Jets this week, but then they go Cowboys, Ravens, Bills on the way out. That's not a cakewalk there for the Dolphins. I think they got bored and they lost to a team that put everything that they had out there for the Titans. Good win there. To the other game, Tommy DeVito, baby.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets. Tommy Touchdowns, man. Tom DeVito.
He's got so many nicknames.
Well, now his agent.
Did you see his agent?
His agent has taken over. Dude, I will tell you this. There is nothing quite as sharp as a pinstripe suit.
Yeah.
I don't have one because I'm not a gangster and I'm not a mafia guy, but there's something about pinstripe suits that just... Now I could go for a good chicken
Tommy
cutlet.
Cutlets.
The cutlet, it's got to be so flat, and I don't have the time to do that, but a good chicken cutlet. Now, dude, I think I'm going to make chicken cutlets for the family tonight.
Oh. What time should I come over?
We eat about 5:15. Come on over. Stop it.
Okay,
stop
perfect. I wrap up today around 4. So.
All right, come on over. West side. You got to travel over to the west side, but we'll be there.
East side, best side.
I might air fry them, though. I don't know if that'll bother you. We're a big air fryer family.
I love the air fryer.
All right, good. We'll throw. Maybe I'll do a little chicken cutlets tonight. There you go. That's one of those things, though. Like air frying, it never comes out as good, and it's always one of those things. I should have just gone to a restaurant. I should have just gotten takeout from like Bar Italia or something there in Lakewood. But anyway, Tommy DeVito. Here's the thing. Like he only threw one touchdown, but
He looks like a little Mark Jackson out there.
I know. I'd be a millionaire if I could do this in Tipico. If I could just go like, I knew. When I found out that Aaron Jones and Christian Watson were both going to be out of that game, I had upset. I didn't think they were going to win, but I felt really good about the Giants covering in that game. You see, dude, Jordan Love just can't do it all himself. He just can't. And I know that the Packers were riding high. The Packers are a team that I think if they could, and Aaron Jones is one of my favorite running backs in the NFL. I think Aaron Jones is so underrated. I think he's so good. He's battling an MCL sprain, so he was out. And I like Christian Watson, but can I tell you this? If you put just one other average NFL wide receiver on that team, and that's not a shot at Romeo Doubs or Jaden Reed, who they really like. Bro, you put one more weapon on that Packers offense, and I think, maybe just like, I don't know, Devontae Adams or something. I don't know, whatever. They'd be really scary. It kind of shows you that, there's some... Jordan Love can't do it all himself. But shout out to the Giants, and they're doing enough to keep Brian Daboll his job. If you're Saquon Barkley, how do you not go and ask for $700 million deferred from the Giants? He is everything to that offense. He is literally everything to that offense there in New York. Good wins. Upset alerts, pretty good. Fun times.
All right, well, to revert back to the Cavs real quick, Matt, somebody needs to let them know it's time to stop messing around. They fall to 13-10, 7th in the East, so they would still be in the play-in. However, they need to turn things around, it seems like. Any given night, they can go ice cold, and now they have a tough game coming up Tuesday against tonight. Or no, tomorrow. Tomorrow, Wednesday, against a very good, tough Celtics team.
Yeah, and a team like the Celtics that, correct me if I'm wrong, have been sitting around for a couple of days. When did they play the Knicks? Dude, that is right. Oh, my God. Do you know the Celtics haven't played since Friday?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, God. And then we get this not straight back-to-back, but we're in Boston for 2 games.
Boston is 10-0 at home this season.
We'll get one of those. I don't know which one, but we'll get one of those. I feel like yes. I don't know which. Yeah, man. The Cavs have to play a perfect brand of basketball, and they didn't, and they were missing guys, and they look like crap. It's kind of what happens. But you're putting a lot in these Boston games to try to right the ship a little bit and get those guys to turn things around. So we'll see. We'll have our typical wager for that tomorrow night. Boost. Do we go Cavs money line as a part of that? We shall see. All right, let's get over to NFL Power Rankings. Great stuff in the morning update there. Ryan, let's see where ESPN has got the Cleveland Browns. So we start at the top, and also each one of the teams, the thing that they have improved the most this season. So I start with one. It's San Francisco. No reason to change that out. They've been number one. But Ryan, it's funny that when the season started, the discrepancy between the NFC and the AFC, where we were sitting here going, oh my God, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson.
I was waiting for that.
All of these guys, and you didn't even know who C.J. Stroud was at that point, right? All of these quarterbacks in the AFC. Oh, my God, the AFC is so stacked. What does the NFC have? The 49ers, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. That's it. And now, all of a sudden, it's flipped on its head that you look at the NFC and you go, yeah, I think the better teams are over there. Number 1 is San Francisco. Dallas is number 2. Baltimore 3, and then Philadelphia 4. I think that's fair to say that 3 of the 4 best teams are in the NFC right now.
Yeah.
Miami is 5. Detroit stays at 6. Kansas City stays at 7.
I'm surprised Detroit's still at 6 as well.
They stayed at 6, by the way, after that loss.
Don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works either. Buffalo goes from 9 to 8, and your Cleveland Browns up from 11 up to number 9.
We're better than the Lions.
Okay, let me ask you that. Of the teams ahead of us, Buffalo, Kansas City, and the Lions, would you put us ahead of any of them?
I'd put us above Buffalo and the Lions.
I would agree with that. I would listen to that. The biggest improvement this year for the Cleveland Browns from Jake Trotter? The passing offense. You're right. Surprisingly, Cleveland's passing offense is now better with its 4th quarterback to start the game this season. Flacco and his big arm have given Cleveland's air attack a boost in these past 2 games in which he was a starter. Flacco already has more games of at least 250 yards and 2 passing touchdowns than Deshaun Watson has had. Joe Flacco in 2 games has 2 games of 250 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson has 1. This gets back into how we started the show. And if you missed it, I think a very good spirited debate starts the show. Go on back. Once the show wraps up, go back and check it out on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. Jake writes it right there. I've seen 2 games out of Joe Flacco that are better than any of the games that I've seen out of Deshaun Watson. Okay, that's fine. And if you want to try to make excuses about what the defense doesn't know or how the offense was run, that's fine. But I started by saying, you went all in on Deshaun Watson, and you pulled a guy off the scrap heap that looks better than him. I'm just saying, I don't need commentary after that. I welcome it, sure, but that statement is a fact. That the Browns, in 2 games, have had better quarterback play than a guy that you paid $230 million on all his draft picks for. Injuries, sure. Yes, I get that. The positive to take out of that is I don't think it's the offense. Just remember that. Because we're going to have spirited debates and we're going to have arguments, dare I say, next year about the offense or what Watson's doing or not. But just remember that I don't think it's the offense. I'm not saying it's always going to be perfect. I'm not saying that every game needs to go to the Louvre in the NFL Louvre and it's the best that we've ever seen. But just know that they got it figured out with Joe Flacco. And I got to give them room and opportunity to get it figured out with Deshaun Watson. And I don't have a choice but to allow that runway. And that's what next year will be. But I'm just saying. I guess we should be happy that we're in this scenario because we know it could have gone horribly bad. We know that it could have gone really, really, really bad. And Joe Flacco has kept it afloat, and he's also doing it different. And I think, in the NFL scope of what is the best quarterback, you got a group of guys like Allen and Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence, I guess. They're big-bodied 6'4", 6'5" quarterbacks that can move, but they stay in the pocket. Joe Burrow, too. Then you have your Tuas, your Jalen Hurts, I guess maybe even a little of your Brock Purdy, a little bit. And they do it different. And then I think Lamar is a unicorn. I think he is separate of those guys. He does it completely different than what they do, but he's still super efficient. And then there's kind of Deshaun Watson. And you would think that he's in that Mahomes to kind of realm type of thing. But you brought in a guy that's a big-bodied quarterback that stands back there and whips it all around. Kind of makes me want that. I don't know. It's kind of draining. It really is a little draining to think about that you brought a guy in that's shown up and done better. Like, that's frustrating, man. I look at it and I say, what Flacco has done, I guess, has no impact on Deshaun Watson. Like, they're completely separate things. But I see it's the same offense, and I see the same receivers, and I see this, and I see that, and I'm like, I guess we just need to move on from it because it's really going to drive me insane. It's going to drive me insane. We need to focus on, do you think Joe Flacco is going to be able to win a playoff game for you? Do you think you're going to be able to go, again, win a playoff game? That's all I ask with Joe Flacco. Can you do that? We'll focus on that when we return. We'll get to our 2 for Tuesdays. We'll update our bracket. We have Time Hop when we return, so we'll head back and tell you everything that happened this day in history. Get signed up with Tipico, folks. Use that code BIGPLAY100. When you sign up, deposit and bet $25 on whatever you want with that code BIGPLAY100. Get $100 in bonus bets right there in your account. Gamble responsibly. If you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Check those out on the website there. But get signed up. There it is. And you can bet, what we got action tonight across the NBA. We know the Cavs are back in action tomorrow night. You're sitting down. You're watching a game. Play-in tournament. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted you to bring up. The Lakers are hosting that banner up there for the play-in tournament. Or I keep saying play-in tournament, in-season tournament. Congratulations to them. But still, place your wagers, have some fun, and play it on out. Tipico is the app. Download it. Big Play 100 when you sign up. And then you can bet with us all season long here on the show. Big Play, Big Bets on Friday. Of course, we know that we have our boosts on the Reflux. I keep saying Reflux show. The Big Play Cleveland show. They do it all across here on Big Play. So Tipico is where we bet. We invite you to join it and try us out. Big Play 100 is the bet there to place on Tipico. All right, we come back. Time Hop. We'll get to our brackets as well. Wrap things up. Stay with us. All right, let's jump into Time Hop. We got the 12/12, December 12th, our date. Let's head back in time and tell you what we got, including this day, 2021. The Browns beat the Baltimore Ravens 24-22. The notable thing from this game, Ryan, Myles Garrett had that scoop and score touchdown. Lamar Jackson had to leave the game with an injury, and the Browns got a big win. This day, 2021. The 2021 season is like such a, I would say a misnomer. You missed the playoffs. It was the last year with Baker. But that win, that puts you at 7-6. And I remember, because you came out of the bye, you played well in that game. It was at home, and you were sitting at 7-6. And it's a little similar to where the Browns are at right now, where you go, hey, man, we just get a couple of wins on out here, and we'll be just fine. They proceeded to lose 3 straight after that game. And you didn't make it. But nonetheless, Baker had 2 touchdowns in that game, 59 yards there for Nick Chubb. Your leading receiver was Donovan Peoples-Jones. Yeah, could have had it there. Browns were up 24-3 at one point, and then they allowed Baltimore to get back into the game, but still. A scoop and score touchdown there from Myles Garrett. This day, 2021. This day, 2020, the Crew won the MLS Cup. We're in a deja vu, man. Congratulations to them. Winning it, of course, this past weekend. Also, this day, 2020, Ohio State was scheduled to play Michigan, but the game was canceled due to COVID. And I remember that season was all about Justin Fields, right? He was kind of the forefront of getting this season played and pushing. And I know, for a lot of us out there, we went through it. And it'll be weird. I think about this sometimes of, like, my son will come to me one day and say, Dad, I got to do a book report, or I got to do a project on what the year 2020 was like in this world. And I don't know what I'm going to tell him. Like, dude, we stayed in our house. Nobody went to work. The restaurants were closed. Bars was... Do you want to... Well, never mind.
Well, no, I want to know.
No, because, like, I don't know why. Somebody... You ever click on those clickbait things on Twitter or Facebook or whatever? And it was like an uncomfortable fact about COVID. And it's an unfortunate one. That they deemed a lot of bars and liquor stores essential to be open because if people couldn't get their alcohol, all the alcoholics would have to go to the hospital for withdrawal, and they couldn't handle them because they had all the COVID patients.
Yeah, I mean, that
dark
makes sense.
Dark secret of COVID.
That makes sense.
Just how we lived in that world, how things went on during that time, crazy time. But yeah, they canceled the Ohio State-Michigan game that day. This day, 2010, the Browns fall to the Bills, 13-6. Not quite the offensive showing that you asked for this day, 2020. You want some box score trivia for you this day?
2010, you said?
2010.
Okay.
We fall 13-6. Now, here's the crazy thing. We had won 2 straight prior to that, and we fall. Browns starting quarterback that day. 12 out of 20, 86 yards, and an interception. Who was it?
2010. So this might have been a year early. Colt McCoy?
No, good guess, though.
I
don't know if you'll get it. It's a name that when I say it, you're going to oh, yeah.
Seneca Wallace?
No, good guess. This guy was a former long-time starting quarterback in the NFL that found his way to the Cleveland Browns. Jake Delhomme. Jake
wow.
Delhomme. 12 out of 20 for 86 yards.
That's a name
and
I
an
haven't thought of in
interception.
quite
Now,
some time.
the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills that day, 14 out of 23, 142, and a touchdown.
So that I believe that was a couple years before EJ Manuel got there.
Right.
Buffalo Bills quarterback.
You see this guy every week. Every single week you see this guy.
Okay, so I'm assuming he did something with broadcasting. Hasselbeck?
No, good guess, though.
This
This guy's a lot more hair than Matt Hasselbeck does.
A lot more hair. Oh, come on, Ryan.
One of the ads that he runs, I see it ad nauseum during the game, and it annoys me. I hate seeing it because they play it every commercial break.
Oh, Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic. It's too much magic. It's too much. It's like, it's just like.
Yeah, that FanDuel one or DraftKings.
Yeah. Hey, that tells you the marketing's not even working, man. Yeah. We're all typico here. It's like, Fitzmagic. Ooh, too much magic. Like, here's the thing. Does Amazon Prime, do they not have, like, sponsors, they run the same 3 ads over and over and over and over again during Thursday Night Football. It's DraftKings, it's Subway, and I think it's State Farm, and that's it. And I see them over and over again. It's crazy. Browns leading rusher Peyton Hillis had 108 yards this day, 2010. Mohamed Massaquoi,
Wow.
3 receptions for 43 yards. Browns had 5 fumbles in that game and lost 2 of them. Our guy Josh Cribbs in that game, 1 punt return for 7 yards. So there you go. 1 reception for 7 yards too there for Josh. So there you go. This day, 2010. We continue on with Time Hop, including this day, 1985. The Indians signed the Candyman, Tom Candiotti, to a minor league deal. He would then go on to the next season to lead the American League in complete games after being signed to a minor league deal.
Nice.
This day, 1965, rookie Gale Sayers set an NFL record with 6 rushing touchdowns in one game.
It's a lot of touchdowns.
I'm Googling to see.
6 in one game.
6.
Kamara did that, I think.
That's what I was just looking to see. So Alvin Kamara tied it. The most rushing touchdowns in a single game. Alvin Kamara. Clinton Portis has 5. Jim Brown has 5. And Jonathan Stewart from the Panthers.
Wow.
James Stewart is that. Jim Brown's up there. Joe Mixon has 4. Jonathan Taylor has 4. Pretty good list right there. This day, 1964, speaking of records, Frank Ryan set the Browns single-game record by throwing 5 touchdowns in a 52-20 win over the Giants. Now, here's your trivia question. Since then, it has been tied 5 times. 5 times. So in 1964, Frank Ryan did it. Bill Nelson did it in 1969. Nice. Brian Sipe in 1979. And it has happened 3 times since the team came back in 1999. Do you want to guess the 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah, I'll take a
5
guess.
touchdowns
Okay.
in one game. 3 quarterbacks. None of them did it twice. 3 different guys since 1999.
Baker.
That is correct in 2020.
I remember that. Okay, Baker. Did Tim Couch ever do it?
Did not.
Okay. Did Derek Anderson ever do it?
He did in 2007. Well done.
Okay,
There's one more.
So is this between Baker and?
No, it's between Couch and Anderson.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to dig deep. Okay.
This guy had a lot to do with Tim Couch. Here.
Did he replace Couch after he broke his leg or whatever?
Kelly Holcomb.
Yeah. Okay.
Kelly Holcomb.
I couldn't
Kelly
remember the
Holcomb in
name, but yeah.
2004.
Yep.
Yes, those are the 5. So again, Browns record 5 touchdowns. Baker, Derek Anderson, Kelly Holcomb, Brian Sipe, Bill Nelson, and then Frank Ryan did it this day, 1964. This day, 1950, the pride of Elyria, Vic Janowitz won the Heisman for The Ohio State University. This day, 1937, the Cleveland Rams had the first overall pick in the 38 NFL draft. They picked Corbett Davis, a running back out of Illinois. This day, 1901, was the first transatlantic radio transmission. Where would be today without that? And then this day, 1899, George F. Bryant patented the wooden golf tee. Do you know what they did before the wooden golf tee?
No, what'd they do?
They took a cup of dirt and they packed it and then they turned it over and lifted it up and you put your golf ball on that. I only know that because of the greatest game ever played. What's the one with Shia LaBeouf, and he plays the golfer? Not the greatest game ever played. He plays.
I don't know.
Francis
He was
Wheat.
in a golf movie.
Yeah,
Shia LaBeouf.
he plays. He plays Francis Ouimet. The greatest game ever played. That's what is it? 2005.
What's the greatest golf movie ever?
Tin Cup.
Tin Cup.
Well, okay, Caddyshack. It's either It's
Oh, my Happy Gilmore.
yeah, that's up there.
Yeah.
That's it's funny you mentioned Happy Gilmore. Let's get to birthdays, shall we?
Oh.
Shall we get to birthdays? All right, let's do it. Very happy birthday goes out to Cleveland's own Mike Golick Sr., Hall of Famer, Steeler, but John Randall. Andrew Whitworth, former Brown TJ Ward, former Buckeye Von Bell, the great Frank Sinatra, actress Jennifer Connelly, and a very happy birthday goes out. I wish I could play this clip. I really do. But I can't. And of course, we unfortunately lost this person this past year. But to the late, great Bob Barker. I think you've had enough. No. Bam! Drops the B word there. Late, great Bob Barker. Celebrating a birthday today, of course. So, yes, very, very good on Happy Gilmore. No, I would say Tin Cup, Happy Gilmore, and Caddyshack are all in an elite level on their own.
I need to watch Caddyshack.
You've never seen Caddyshack?
No. I knew that was going to be your reaction.
You've never... Are you a golfer?
I dabble in it. I'm very bad at it. I enjoy it. I know it's a great movie, and
It is a fantastic
That's always one where I'm
movie.
like, I need to go watch it.
You do.
The problem is I watch like insanely good movies. I tend to watch them over and over. So like I just watched the other day.
You will add Caddyshack to the list.
I just watched Gone Girl again the other day. Such a good movie.
Isn't that the one with Ben Affleck?
Yeah. Such a good movie.
You got to watch Caddyshack. And I'll tell you this, watching it on TV, it's not a movie like you have to see unedited. I guess there are some scenes they probably cut out, but you can watch it on TV. So there it is. A little update in the college transfer portal. Riley Leonard, the Duke kid, going to Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about Bo Nix is going to, or not Bo Nix, Dylan
Don't
Gabriel.
even joke about Bo Nix transferring again. That's not even a joke. Yeah, Dylan Gabriel's out too for Ohio State. That list is starting to.
Yeah, Bo Nix is
If you
transferred to
told me
Ohio
that Bo
State.
Nix transferred again, I would have lost it. I would have absolutely flipped a lid if you told me that Bo Nix was transferring again. No, Riley Leonard's going to Notre Dame. So, dude, it's starting to. We haven't talked a lot of Buckeyes since. I mean, really, the biggest news is who is left and where they're going to go. But, yeah, man. That list is starting to shorten up there for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So Riley Leonard's going to Notre Dame. So I guess they'll have to find somebody else. We'll see. All right, let's update our 2 for Tuesday questions up at Matt Fontana Show. You can always drop us a follow there. First up, will the Browns win a playoff game this year under the direction of Joe Flacco? 75-25 people say yes. I mean, Ryan, we were just doing questions a few weeks ago if we thought we were going to make the playoff. And now we feel like they're going to win a playoff game, which is great to see. And then, are the Beatles overrated?
The majority speaks
60-40 people say no. I disagree with that. I just think they're a little over. But
Matt, save this for in our back pocket because I really do want to have the debate of who is a bigger. I'm going to have to figure out how to word this because I'm going to have to word this very carefully. But who is, I'll just leave it for this for now. Who's the bigger icon when it's all said and done? Michael Jackson or Taylor Swift?
I mean, the thing is, it gets back to, and this is a bad pun. I'm sorry. It gets back to the eras. Because she's on the Eras tour doing it. They just flow out of me. I don't know what to tell you. I just got bad puns and dad jokes. It's LeBron Michael. It's Michael Kareem. It's just, you can't, because people are going to say what MJ did was just so different than, not that one, the other one, not, compared to what Taylor Swift did. And I don't know how to answer that. I mean, my answer is Michael Jackson. Because again, I listen to Michael Jackson songs. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. Same thing. I'm not going to sit here and say Taylor Swift is overrated, frankly, because I'd have family members that would probably kill me. But anyway.
Is Michael Jackson overrated?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I don't think so. And again, he seems to be a really bad person, outside of that. So that factors into this. But from a musical standpoint, I think, if you're talking about it's the same thing. Sinatra's birthday. There are people say the greatest entertainer of all time was Frank Sinatra. For my vote, if you asked me the greatest entertainer to ever live, it's Michael Jackson.
Okay.
That would be my vote. I guess there's a world that Taylor Swift could surpass that. And the thing is, you're talking about entertainer versus like a band. Like I wouldn't say,
right.
There's differences with that, but she certainly has a chance to get there. Do you believe that she is cursing the Kansas City Chiefs? That is now a thing. on how they've lost some of these games, people think it's a curse.
I don't know, but
I think it's a T-Swift
I'm all
curse.
for it. It's fine with me.
Or just the Chiefs being bad.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, shout out to Nick Paulus. Nick, I worked with for a long time. He had a great meme. You know the meme where somebody's sad staring outside of the one side of the bus?
Yeah, I know exactly what I saw. It too. Yeah.
The Chiefs are 8-5. Their world is crumbling, and we're 8-5. Like, this is great, man. This is awesome. Happy to be a part of it. We'll
Perspective is everything.
Perspective is everything. It really is. And that's the thing. The perspective on this Browns team, to get back to the Watson thing, which has kind of consumed a lot of our show today, like, the perspective is that we have a good football team. And all that I ask whenever Watson comes back and next year when we get there is that he picks that up. And the thing is, Joe Flacco has come in and uninterrupted what this team is doing, but the rest of the team deserves a ton of credit. So much credit for them stepping up, for how they have played, for the game plan, for the defense, for all of these things. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to see how this team has played around Joe Flacco. Like, again, you took a 38-year-old guy sitting on his couch and you turned him into a serviceable NFL quarterback. And this year has been so crazy on the year of the quarterback, where we set records for the amount of starters and the amount of rookie quarterbacks that had to start games. It's, the injuries this year are insane. It started with Rodgers, with Burrow, with Anthony Richardson, now, of course, with Watson. It was crazy to see how it played out. And I think the Browns, I know Cincinnati can make a case for this. The Browns have handled that about as well as anybody. We've handled it better than the Jets. Look at Seattle. They're nothing. Like, they are so messed up without Geno Smith in there right now. And there's just this clear divide. And I don't want to ever sit here and feel like it'd be a misnomer to be like, oh, the Browns could really take on the 49ers. Or there's this upper echelon of teams. But make no mistake, folks, the Browns are in that second tier. And they're doing it with a backup quarterback. They're doing it missing some key players on this team. And this run, and however it ends out, to our question this morning, if you think they're going to win a playoff game, that would borderline be like a Super Bowl, Ryan. And I hate moral victories, and we have the ultimate goal of going to eventually win a championship. Winning a playoff game this year would be that's like a Super Bowl. And it sets you up for success in the future. It sets you up to say, we have built this team. You have an organization that you want to be a part of. That's what you really want. I think that's making chicken salad out of chicken blank. That's the best the Browns can do this year. That is really, truly the best that they can do. Well, speaking of chicken salad, I would not say that is an appetizer, although very delicious and very tasty. It is time to get to our big play bracket of the week.
All righty, Matt. I put it full screen there
Please,
so people get the big look at it. But best appetizer, Matt. This has the makings of a bracket that might come down to the wire. Maybe our closest one yet. So Group 1 is going to go today. Obviously, we got mozzarella sticks.
Number 1 overall. So they are the Kentucky of this.
Yeah. Breadsticks. See, we did put. I almost feel like, should we have taken chicken wings out?
Yes. I don't want chicken wings. Are not an appetizer.
Some people wanted them in the comments.
I know, because Danny, who I used to work with, and one of the legacy. We should have Danny on to talk some Cavs maybe tomorrow. We for an entire show one time had the argument if chicken wings are appetizers or a meal. And I said a meal because I asked, when's the last time you've eaten chicken wings as an appetizer, then got some crap? I did that on Sunday.
Damn it.
I did that on Sunday.
So do we leave it in?
We had our sibling dinner.
Do we leave it in?
And my brother-in-law and I are both fans of wings, so we got an order of wings before we got our meals. Damn it!
So do we leave it in, or do we?
I guess we got to leave it in.
All right. So number 3, chicken wings versus number 4, yours, spinach artichoke.
How did that get a 4 seat? I want to talk to the seating committee.
I mean,
What are you doing?
I don't know.
All right, fine. I appreciate you putting chips and guac in Group 2. That's a great appetizer.
I guess I didn't even technically think about the seating because it doesn't necessarily matter.
But it matters. Okay, it's fine.
You're right.
It works out.
And then in Group 2, chips and guac / sauce. So I also didn't write it for room sake, but queso.
Queso can go into that as well.
With fried pickles.
Dude, can I talk about a damn good fried pickle?
Yeah, there's
amazing. Nothing. Now, do you prefer the chips or the spears? Knowing that there's no wrong answer.
I prefer the spears.
So do I.
I prefer the
So
spears.
do I. Damn good on fried pickles.
Alrighty, and then 3 shrimp, and then 4 pretzels with beer cheese.
Keep going. We have one that I think has to make
Group 3, buffalo chicken dip. That's obviously a big favorite. Mac and
Fantastic.
cheese bites, sliders, and egg rolls.
Okay.
And Group 4, jalapeno poppers,
Not a fan.
pigs in a blanket,
Big fan.
loaded nachos,
Love them.
and potato skins.
Great. What about calamari?
I'm a fan of calamari. I know it's kind of
I
an
love
acquired
calamari.
taste. I do love calamari.
I love calamari. Now the question is,
Yeah.
what do you take out? You want to take the shrimp out? We go seafood for seafood there.
I like
I'll
that.
leave it up to you.
I
You
know.
do it.
I like
I
that.
just think a good
I
good
like that.
calamari with a good marinara
I'm gonna
sauce.
I'm gonna edit it. So for Group 2, we're gonna do calamari instead of shrimp. I like that.
All right, so groups 1 and 2 get tweeted out tonight. You can vote on that, and then groups 3 and 4 will go tomorrow. Gut feeling, I think Mott sticks will be hard. Dude, that first round matchup of Mott sticks it's been hard to.
I think mozzarella sticks are kind of overrated.
Really?
They're good, but
Okay.
like fried
Okay.
pickles, for instance, 10 times better.
Fried pickles are delicious. Like they are absolutely delicious. But yeah, you can't go wrong. Okay, of that group, which is your thing that you're the least fan of?
Which group?
Of any of the 16 that we did, if you had to get rid of one, for me it's jalapeno poppers. I don't like them.
Oh, see, I like them.
See, I cream cheese, great. I'm not a big spice guy. That's maybe why, but I don't know. I'm out on jalapeno poppers. So if you had to get rid of one of the 16 that we put, you can never have again, which would you pick? I'll give you a backup one.
Probably, honestly, breadsticks.
Okay.
You know, I feel like
Yeah.
you can get your bread kick somewhere else.
Sliders for me. I'll
Sliders.
just get a regular size burger or something.
That's fair.
You know, but the thing is that there's some places that I know that you can get like a sample group of sliders and get like 3 or 4 different ones. So that's a tough one, man. Now I'm thinking of all the best Mott sticks in town. There's some really good ones. Because
I'm getting hungry.
dude, Mott sticks. The thing is, as long as the cheese is well done on the inside, then you're good. Mozzarella sticks are something that never come out as good at home.
Oh God,
Never
no.
come out
Oh
good.
God, no.
You need, and I make my wife makes fun of me for this. That some of my favorite coffee in the world comes from gas stations.
Yeah,
you know,
Speedway.
Speedway, and just there's something about, and I say this, there's something about the coffee machines where they've probably been not clean for 10 years, and I'm not taking a shot. It's just they're delicious, right? They're that just makes the good coffee. The same thing go with deep fryers. There are just some deep fryers that they just make better wings. They make better Mott sticks. The only thing is if you go to them starting springtime when a lot of fish fries are going on, you know, it is what it is.
I'm starving.
Best
right now.
mozzarella stick I ever had, Dick Hoover Bowling Lanes in Brunswick, Ohio.
Why?
I have not
No,
been, bro, I've not been there in no joke.
Bowling
20
alleys have sneaky
years.
good food.
Oh, hell yeah, they do.
Sneaky good
Because
food.
they have
Sneaky
good
good food.
fryers.
Yes, they
because
do.
they have good fryers.
Yes, they do.
Best Mott stick I ever had. It's been 20 years, literally 20 years
Okay.
since I've stepped foot in Dick Hoover Lanes.
We need to have a big play bowling outing. How fun would that
I've
be?
talked to them about getting something
How
rolling
fun would
here.
that be? You just can't help
I
yourself.
can't help myself. That was bad. You know, I really talked to him about get a bowling thing. Well, yeah, we got to get that rolling here. It's a gift. I don't know what to tell you. No, we have had ideas because we should do some sort of. You're telling me that if we didn't do an event, whether it's a golf outing, a bowling thing, and you're telling me you could come meet Reflog, Greg Williams, Josh Cribbs, us. I mean, come on. Seriously,
I love being grouped in with that. Thank you.
Here's you get to meet Maria Cribbs, you get to meet Josh Cribbs, you get to meet Gab, and then there's us.
And
You
then
know,
there's-
we're there too. We're there.
Matt and Ryan.
We're there too. So we'll get that. Again, I keep saying wrong. We'll do something like that. I think in 2024, I think that's on the line. All right, we're going to send out those brackets. Follow us at Matt Fontana Show on Twitter. Drop us a follow and cast your votes there. Do not forget, coming up, we got Chico's show an hour away, and they will have the Bold Bald Breakdown. Nick Shook will be in for the hour. They're going to talk a lot of good football. It's funny, watching like Monday Night Football when Berman does his fast 3 minutes. You just enjoy it so much more. The same thing with Shook and Chico. You're just going to enjoy it so much more because we won. There's positivity to be broken down today. Coming up at noon. And then tonight, you've got the return, Josh and Maria Cribbs.
We got special guest. I don't know if I'm allowed to spoil, but you definitely want to tune in to the return.
Special guest tonight.
A special guest.
All right, special guest tonight. We got Booby this week sometime?
Booby is Friday.
Friday this week. So again, check in for that. Of course, Drennan tomorrow. We got it all for you everywhere you need it right here on Big Play. Drop us a follow on Twitter and our YouTube channel as well. Appreciate everybody joining us on a 2 for Tuesday. Enjoy the hell of the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you on a Wednesday edition of the show. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.